How you doing, everyone? It's Kevin. I'm going to show you how to take a railroad spike and turn it into a coat hook. I'm going to be cutting it off the length that we might need for a coat hook. I'm going to be drilling it out and threading it, and basically just showing you how to make a coat hook out of a railroad spike. I was down in Cass, West Virginia. A couple nice ladies down there have a craft shop out beside the train station. And they asked me what was I using for coat hooks. So I did a quick video just a little while back on the ash wood. I made coat hooks out of ash wood. And so I'm going to make a coat hook from this railroad spike. First thing I want to do with this old rusty railroad spike is I'm going to clean it up. Okay, we got the part of it that we're going to need to cut off all cleaned. It looks pretty good. Now, all you got to do is measure back from the base of this hook about 2 inches. That's about all you need. And then make a mark. It's hard for you to see the mark, but I do got it marked there. Then, I'm trying to use tools that you may have or is easy to get a hold of, because I know I would normally put this in my cut-off saw and it would cut it off for me. Well, I wanted to show you ladies, this is not that hard to make. You need a 4-inch grinder with a little cut-off wheel. Then all you got to do is stick it on here and go real slow, let the grinder do the work, and cut it off straight as you can. Okay, now this is the piece we're going to be using as a coat hook. So now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to get the threads in there. Now after we got it cut off, I just took a grinder and just ground that sharp edge off there. You don't want to get cut. So you got to stick this thing in the vise. So you're going to need some type of a vise to clamp this in. Get it nice and tight. And then what you want to do is find the center. This ain't got to be perfect. Don't forget, it's a coat rack. It's not, it ain't something that has to be perfect. So we'll get a center in here. And that's going to be our center. We know it's not perfect, but it'll work. Now, for drilling this out, I'm going to use a 1/4 20 threads. And it's a 1/4 inch. And we're going to make the threads 1/4 inch, and it's going to have 20 threads on it. So that's a standard bolt. So if we go in town, we can pick these bolts up just about anywhere. It's not metric, it's standard. Now, if you go to, let's say you go into Lowe's. If you go into Lowe's, you should be able to, if I'm not mistaken, I've seen them before. You should be able to buy the tap and the drill bit that will go with this in one little kit. So you just have to buy these two, and I believe they have these in a kit. So you're going to put your threads, and this is going to drill your hole. So you want to use this to drill it, not to tap it. So we'll have threads down in there, 1/4 20, which, like I said, just you should be able to do this pretty easily. Now we're not going to stick this in a drill press because I want to use some of the tools that you may have in your little shop. Now for me, instead of buying that, what I did is this is a gauge here. It tells me the size of bolts. And we know that this is a 1/4 inch. So we want to go a little bit smaller. I got a 7/32 drill bit. So I'm going to go 1/4. I don't have the 15/64, so I'm going to go 7/32. A little bit tighter, but I think it'll be fine. So if you have one of these gauges, you can actually, you're going to be putting a 1/4 inch threads in there. So you want to go down a size or two to put to drill your hole. So I'm going to start off. Now I have some lubricating spray here. I'm going to use. You don't have to use this. You can use oil or anything you want to kind of protect your drill bit, to keep it from getting too hot. Now I'm just going to drill this thing by hand. I'm going to use an 1/8 inch drill bit first. I want to try to keep it as straight as I can. I want to go at least an inch or more down in there. Keep our bit cool. Cooler you can keep that bit, the longer it's going to last. Okay, we're down in there probably, we're a good inch in there, so that should be good. So we're going to clean that off a little bit. Okay, now we got that cleaned up, we're going to go ahead and put our other bit in there. Now we're going to go with the 7/32. Same thing, got to keep it cool. And we're going to keep it as straight as we can, so right down on our pallet hole. Oop. Okay, we should be bottomed out right there. Hit it one more time. Yeah, I think we're bottomed out there. So we're going to clean that stuff off of there. Then we're going to get ready to put our threads in there. So we're going to do the same thing. Use some type of oil when you're putting these threads in. Now, you'll probably have to pick up one of these guys, and you know, I think that you could use a small wrench on the back of this. You wouldn't have to have this. I mean, this makes it a lot nicer, but you could actually use a wrench too. If you want to just get a small, tiny wrench, it'll fit on there, even a crescent wrench or something. If you don't have one of these and you don't want to buy one. This just makes it a little bit easier. Then what you want to do is try to get them straight as you can when you start this tap. You start to go down in there, you want to try to keep it as straight as you can. Once it takes off, you'll know it. It'll start pulling your thread, your metal up out of the hole a little bit, and you could actually feel it starting to cut the threads in there. Now I'm cutting. So what I want to do is just back it off, like maybe half a turn, and then back it off, and you just keep doing that till you get it all the way down to the bottom. Now once you hit the bottom, it's going to stop. You don't want to break your tap off, so just keep going right down in there. We got nice juice down in there, it's cutting good. Just take your time, don't get in a hurry. And I know that you should be able to do this just as easy as I'm doing it right now. Okay, we're bottomed out there. So now when we pull this thing out, we should have us a set of threads in there. Okay, get this thing down in here. Now we have threads, and this guy's in here. So now we have threads in there. So this will hold this, you could, bullet right through your wood. So now you have a nice little coat rack, coat hook. Alright, I'm going to show you everything you could use to make these coat hooks. You need a railroad spike, and you can use a wire brush. You don't have to use a grinder wire brush. You could use a regular wire brush. You'll use a tape measure and just something to mark it with. A cutoff wheel. Now you wouldn't have to use a cutoff wheel. You could use a hacksaw if you wish. You could use a hacksaw. A hammer and a punch to find your center. You'll need a drill bit and your threading tool, which I told you could pick these up at, you should be able to pick these up at like Lowe's or anywhere and get them in a set. That way you don't have to worry about you're going to be using the right drill bit. Some kind of cutting oil. You can use regular motor oil, WD-40, whatever. Good, just any type of motor oil will work. A drill. Now this was to hold your tap here, but you could use a wrench. One thing about it, you got to make sure your threads go in straight, and it's a little bit hard with a wrench, so you have to take your time. And then you end up with this here. It'd be your coat hook. You'll have threads in there. You can put it through your board or however. Now what I did with mine is I just took mine and cleaned them up and took a little bit of thinner and cleaned them off with some thinner and put a clear coat on them. And I kind of like them just the way they are. No paint, no nothing. Just wire brush them down and put a clear coat on them. Well, that's how I take a railroad spike and turn it into a coat hook. It's not as hard a process as a lot of people think. If you go with the steps that I showed you there, I think you'll be fine and you'll be able to make some nice coat hooks. And guess what? They're not really going to cost you anything because they're always laying everywhere. So, I'd like to tell everybody thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave me thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment if you'd like. Till next time.